Hi, I'm recording this because I don't know why. I actually don't know why I'm recording this. There's a small part of me that wants to say it and share it because it deserves to be said and shared. And I think another reason why I'm recording this is because I think there are not a lot of examples of love that lives in this world. And I don't know, I feel like I just want to share what it's like, I guess. I met an individual February 2024 named Nick. Somebody I didn't think I was gonna love, and I did. Not at first. I got to know him, and the more I knew him, the more admiring I became. And he was, he is a gentle, kind, loving, honest, and truly a loving person. And I'm lucky to have known him. You know, there are some times where you meet somebody, you're like, you don't know what life has in store, I guess. And we didn't either. We didn't either. Um, we started getting to know each other, just, becoming friends. And we were friends. We grew into really good friends. Then we started dating. And during that time, I ended up in a, during that time, I had a lot of big incidents of my life happen. One was October 2024, where I was dissociated for a week after, living a lot of trauma in a short period of time. And and I remember it was there, like I asked people not to talk to me, nothing, just isolating for some time. And when I did call him, we'd have these back and forth goofiness. And And when things got serious, they were serious. Actually, honestly, the most meaningful thing for me was I was terrified of stepping outside the house for months after October. And when I was stepping outside, and I was so scared, terrified, and all I wanted to do was hide. I remember he was right there, and he'd be like, Harshini, can I hold your hands? And I'd give them, and he'd hold them, and he'd say, can you please look into my eyes? Look at them. It's like, he'd be like, Harshini, I'll be right here with you the whole time. You got this. I believe in you. And if things ever feel difficult, you know, just look into my eyes. So that's what we did. That's what I did. Anytime I went outside, I was terrified, I was scared, and I'd just be like, can I look into your eyes? And I'd look into his eyes. Somehow I felt a sense of like, oh, okay, I've got someone. And he adored me. I could feel his love. And I remember one of my um, friends at the time told me this. You know, it's very hard to find somebody who sees you even when things are hard. You know, they don't equate your response to, the terrible things. You know, they can see you when you're crying and dissociating and hiding in a closet and not forget that, like, not mistake that to be all of you, you know, because that's what my friend was telling me, like, that's what it felt like for him. Adam, that was the friend I'm talking about, and he was like, it's hard. Somehow he's able to see you, the you that runs towards flowers, you that is playful, dances in the kitchen, sings out of nowhere, and the one who can have significant trauma responses and hides inside a closet and covers everything up on herself. And still see you as whole, the one who is you. He admires you, not any of the versions of you. And I'm just like, you're so right. And I never really had understood that, like, when you're seeing somebody go through so many horrible things and their response to those horrible things, sometimes crying, sometimes hiding, because trauma responses. That was how I felt safe. I would hide. I would hide in my closet, a corner of my closet. It's a very small place. It's all, built-ins. But there's a small, tiny part which has, like, for dresses, the long one. And I would hide under there, and I would pull, like, comforter or something on under me. And sometimes I'd sit there and fall asleep. Sometimes I would call a friend, and sometimes I'd call Nick. And I think I looked at him, and that was all, and everything was okay. And not because I wanted him to solve everything, but I knew I wasn't alone. And that does a lot to a human nervous system, knowing that you're not alone, knowing that you don't have to shrink, you don't have to, smooth out every edge. It meant a lot. He meant a lot to me. It still does. He still does. We stopped talking to each other since September 2025. It's been a few months now. And it wasn't because he did anything wrong. It wasn't because I did anything wrong. It was because circumstances were so overwhelming, and it was just the two of us trying to keep my head above water. And he started drowning. And I wish, I don't know what I wish. Oh no, I don't know what to wish for, you know? I could wish that the horror of two people handling things the village should have never happened. I wish he never had to become my caregiver. I wish he didn't burn out. I wish he was able to take care of himself while taking care of me. I wish he and I could still talk, even if not romantic relationship, nothing, even if it's just, hey, hi. I wish I could go back in time and, I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I went back in time because I didn't, I didn't, I didn't have a lot of options. I still don't. I was trying my hardest to keep myself alive and trying to protect him from burning out, and he was doing the hardest to keep me alive and trying to not burn himself out. And when you don't have support and you're the only two people trying to keep a life alive, that's a lot. And I wish our relationship didn't have to bear the test of people not showing up, I guess, or systems not showing up. I sound angry. I am a little angry. I am angry at the fact that it took a relationship that meant the world to me. It took a love that genuinely was the safest love I've ever experienced. And it's not like it didn't have hard times between us. It wasn't like it was all sunshine and roses. It wasn't. We fought. We had moments where, like, Like, why are you like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? There were a lot of things like that. And that's the thing. Every relationship has its growth moments. And we had ton while we were also trying to keep ourselves alive and afloat. So, yeah. And even right now, I had a dream last night, tonight, whatever. Um, hadn't seen him in so long. And so I had this dream. I was at this house, something. There was construction going on. There were a bunch of people. And then I saw Nick. Nick showed up. And for some reason, he had more tan and a little bit of bumps. And when I saw him, I was like, are you okay? That was the first thing I said to him when I saw him was, are you okay? Because that's my love for him is it's rooted in care, you know? And that's the interesting thing is if being with me causes him harm, I don't know, like sometimes when you burn out taking care of somebody, you resent them, you know, and it's valid. He's totally justified in doing that, you know? And and also I know the Nick that I loved, the Nick that I, made sure that he knew I wasn't the problem. And it's easier, isn't it? Like for grief to process itself. I think like it's either I villainize myself or I villainize the other person and then, it's simple. And in our relationship, I can't do that because I'm not trying to make it easy or simple. I'm trying to make it real. And reality is hard. Reality is complex. And the hardest thing really to me is how like I still know deep inside that I was a big part of his life. I made an impact on him. And I also added a lot of pain by burning him out, not because I burned him down, but because taking care of me burned him out. And I still carry the guilt of that, I still carry guilt of watching. I watched him day after day. He would come in and he'd just go on the same routine, take Toffee out, lift me, and help me to the bathroom if I couldn't get myself up, and feed the chinchillas, clean their cage, and I don't know, like like doing dishes. I don't know, a lot of things. A lot of things he shouldn't have done. He didn't need to do. And I remember one of the most biggest things that changed my life and my perspective of our relationship was when because I never saw him, I heard him say this before, but when we went to couples counseling at the end of our relationship time, not because we were, you know, we were going to magically change everything. That's not what couples counseling is for. It's just really just to try and even understand what can, how to sustain it, I guess. And one of the things I remember him saying is, I get so upset that she doesn't have support. I get angry with everybody who just no longer takes her calls. She was the person who built communities. She was the person who brought people together. And when she needs it, there's nobody showing up. And it makes me angry. I know she doesn't deserve it. I've never heard him say that before. I never heard him say that before. And I was just like, I wish he had people. I wish I had people. I wish I had support, I guess. At the same time, what I see in that person is someone grieving for their partner's lack of, like, they know what their partner deserves. They know what their partner is capable of, and they know the partner they love is suffering because they're on it alone. And Nick shouldn't have had to carry it all alone. He didn't. I remember every time I saw him tired or exhausted, and I remember telling him, Nick, you have a choice. I don't. You have a choice. You don't have to show up. You don't have to come here. You don't have to. You can walk away because your life is different. You don't have to step into mine. And I remember him telling me, I know. I am choosing to show up. It's a choice, Harshini. I'm choosing. You're not making me do anything. I'm choosing to be here. I'm choosing to support you. And I'd ask him, I don't know if there's anything I can do in my entire life to ever be able to repay you, or, like, not financially. Like, I'm talking about, like, I don't know, or be able to, I don't know, like, I don't know what would weigh up to what you're doing for me. Because he kind of put his life on pause for me. And I really wish he didn't do that. He didn't have to do that. I really wish it wasn't. Anyway, not anyway. It's not anyway. This is the way it happened. And he didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. I think if we keep talking about deserve, I'd be the most cynical person on the planet. That said, I'm grateful for him. I don't know if there'll ever be anything I can do to ever tell him how much he means to me. He meant for me and what his presence did for me. And not to bring him back into my life, nothing, but just to say, hey, I remember you, not because I have not moved on from the relationship. Actually, I don't. I no longer am holding on to the relationship. I'm not even holding on to you. I'm holding to the love because it was real. And I don't need to forget. I don't need to make everything all better again. I can love you and love myself and know that I might never see you or talk to you or know about you. It's a painful reality, and it is a reality. And I'm sure, there'll be future partners and whoever, right? And I will love them for them, just like I loved you for you. I love you for you. It's not about romantic relationship with me. It's about the impact you've had on my life. And it's crazy. Sometimes when miss you, I look at the images of us and I'm like, I never thought about it during the relationship. Um, I'm just like, and now when I see it, I'm like, you know, he was young. He is young. And he has his whole life ahead of him. And, I'm just a person who stepped in, stepped out, I guess, right? And, you know, it's not a big deal. And the impact I had on his life, the good and the bad, they're they're just a teeny part of him. And, you know, he'll forget, and or even if he doesn't forget, it's not a big deal. My presence in his life was not a big deal. That's what I keep telling myself, you know? And that's actually the reason why I wanted to record this, is because I caught myself minimizing myself in his life, because it's easier for grief when there's a clean victim, clean perpetrator, clean good guy, clean bad guy, clean. It's not a big deal. Clean, it is a big deal. And in our life and life in general, reality is not that clean. And here I am talking about it because I know one thing for sure, that I love Nick, and I know I will love my next partner or whoever walks in my life for who they are, because that's what love is. And I know I will love myself, and I love myself. And loving somebody doesn't mean erasing someone else you loved. You know, you can appreciate someone's presence in your life and the part they played, and not have to grip onto that story and tell yourself that, you know, you're not a big part of that life. Therefore, you know, no. Love to me is a being meeting, like two beings meeting each other in whatever form of love, meeting each other as whole individual beings and choosing each other as they are. And I'm grateful that I truly am grateful that I had an individual in my life, Nick, who was the first safe love and loving relationship outside of my relationship with myself. And and it's given me a lot. And do I wish I could have that relationship again? No. Do I wish I can be back in time when things were amazing? No. Do I wish that I could have some sort of connection with Nick and have some sort of two-way relationship? Yes. Do I hope that ever happens? Yeah. And will I do anything to make it happen? No. Because, sorry, I'm in a lot of pain. Um, the most beautiful reality for me is that I met this incredible person and called him a friend and got to call him my partner. And I'm now incredibly grateful to have now a small piece of me that knows that was real and it is real. And whatever comes next in life, I'll be me. And I know that'll be enough for me and enough for the other person, whoever that person is, if they are a person who is ready for the depth and breadth of all the life I bring, you know? And that means the silliness, the goofiness, the cheeriness, the scared, the in pain Harshini, in joy Harshini, in terror Harshini, in anger Harshini, in I don't know, in the kind Harshini, in the loving Harshini, and the I don't know. I'm saying Harshini a lot. It feels weird. But see, that's the Harshini. That's me. You know, like that's me. I am me. There's no other way to be but to be myself, right? Isn't that what love is towards ourselves? And I love me. And I am grateful that I can love others from this place of love for me too. Thank you.